Believe it or not, most of us already have one or more trusts without even realizing it. A typical example would be a family home, which is jointly owned by mum and dad. This means that they're both entitled to all of the net value of the property. Joint owners of a property or bank account have to follow certain rules. For example, one owner can't just sell a jointly owned house without the agreement of the other. And when one owner dies, the other owner automatically becomes the sole owner of the whole property, despite whatever might be said to the contrary in the deceased's will. So how did trusts start? Trusts have been used to protect people's assets since the 12th century. When a knight went off to fight in a war, he would pass ownership of his lands to a trusted friend, with the lands to be handed back on his return. Often the friend went back on his word, refusing to hand ownership back, as under English common law he could claim the land was legally his. The law was changed to prevent this, and the trust was born. Nowadays, trusts are no longer just for landowners, the nobility, and the exceptionally wealthy, but used to protect people's assets from all walks of life. But how did this happen? Following the end of World War II, there was a massive housing shortage, which was met by the building of council houses. Many of us will remember our parents and grandparents happily living in one. The introduction of the right to buy scheme changed things for ordinary working families, who now had assets for the first time. Assets that they could pass on to their children, assets they wanted to protect. This remains the case today. With more people owning their own homes and even second properties, using trusts is the best strategy for those looking to pass these assets on intact. How exactly? Well, although the trustees are the legal owners of the assets inside the trust and make all the decisions, the money has to be used according to the rules you set out for them to follow. Today, trusts have many uses and are not only great for protecting young dependents and vulnerable beneficiaries, but can stop unintended parties getting their hands on your money after you're gone. When assets are passed to beneficiaries, absolutely, they're at risk of attack from divorce or separation, bankruptcy and creditors, remarriage, care costs and taxation. Simply setting up a trust will help protect your hard-earned money from any such attacks being made against your chosen beneficiaries, no matter what their future holds. So before you ride off into the sunset on your trusty steed, be your loved one's knight in shining armor by setting up a trust today. Countrywide, preserving your assets for future generations.